Hello dear students, welcome to lecture number 4 on the chapter The Human Eye and the Colorful World. In today's lecture, we are going to learn about the refraction through a prism. We are learning refraction phenomena through a prism. Okay, so what do you mean by prism first? So before going to the refraction phenomena through a prism, you must have the fair bit of idea about the prisms. Okay, so I'm going to define prism and their types, and later we will enter into the refraction part, that is through a prism. Okay, definition of prism. It is an optical medium. Remember, it is an optical medium. So the optical medium is a medium where the electromagnetic wave like light enters and do the activity or the phenomenon of refraction. Okay, it is an optical medium bounded by at least two non-parallel plane surfaces, at least two non-parallel plane surfaces inclined by some angle, inclined by some angle. This is called prism. Prism is an optical medium bounded by at least two non-parallel plane surfaces, two non-parallel plane surfaces. This is must, at least two non-parallel plane surfaces inclined by some angle. So let us try to draw that. We have a couple of diagrams over here, so I will come back to those diagrams later. So what is prism? Prism is an optical medium bounded by at least two non-parallel surfaces. So this is I'm considering a triangular prism here. This is A, this is B, this is C. Assuming A, B, C as a prism, what it says, it is an optical medium bounded by two at least non-parallel sides. This is the non-parallel side number 1, this is 2, or if you are considering AC, this side as 1, this side as 2, and you can do for other parts as well. I mean, just go on rotating, no problem at all. Anyways, what I mean to say is at least two non-parallel surfaces are inclined and two surfaces inclined by some angle, like this, some angle. If you are considering ABC as a prism, so AB and AC are the two non-parallel sides, then inclined by some angle. This is the definition of prism. You can apply here also AB and BC as two non-parallel side, angle will be like this. If you are taking BC and CA, the angle should be like this. BC, CA are the two non-parallel sides. I hope you got this definition clear. Okay. Generally, a prism, we prefer a triangular prism of glass having two similar triangular bases, and three rectangular lateral surfaces which are inclined to each other. Generally, the triangular prism which we are considering, which is made up of glass, has two similar triangular bases. See, having two similar triangular bases, this is, you may call here at this point, this point as A, this point as B, and this point as C. So this point inside as D, this is E, and this is F. So what they are saying? They are saying the two similar triangular bases A, B, C and D, E, F are the two similar triangular bases and three rectangular lateral surfaces. So here ABED is the first rectangular surface. Similarly, ACFD is the second lateral surface, and you can take this portion BCFE as 3. Okay, generally a triangular prism has two triangular bases as such, ABC and DEF, and three rectangular lateral surfaces as I mentioned, ABED as first, ACFD as second, BCFE as third. So generally the prism has this kind of structure which are inclined to each other. All these portions are inclined to each other. Look into this. AB and AC again inclined, AB and BC inclined, similarly BC and CA inclined. So this type of figure is known to be as prism. I hope you got this point clear. And one more point here, the angle between two lateral faces. The angle between two lateral faces is called as angle of prism. Means the angle between two lateral faces just like AB and AC, or AB BC, or BC CA. You can go through even EDF as well, no problem. Angle between two lateral faces, lateral means side. Okay, so two side faces, the angle between those two is taken as angle of prism. I mean to say this portion, this is the angle of prism A, as I already quoted here also. Okay, so this is the angle of prism. Next point, based on their shape of basis. So as we already got that a prism has its own base. On that shape, you know what you are getting, the different types of prisms. You are getting different types of prisms on the basis of shape of the basis of prism is grouped into triangular one. If you are having the triangular base like this, that is called a triangular prism. If you are having square base, it is called as squared prism. Similarly, if you are having a rectangle or rectangular base, you may call, that is called rectangular prism. And if the base is having pentagon, then it is pentagonal prism. Similarly, if it is 6, then it is called as hexagonal prism. I hope you are getting the different types of prisms right. Keep in mind, based on their shapes. So based on the shapes of the bases, prisms are grouped into triangular, square, pentagonal, rectangular, and hexagonal respectively. Keep in mind also that we are preferring most of the cases the triangular prism only. So whatever the study we are making at this point of time will be completely with respect to triangular prism. If you understand about the triangular prism, I think it is all right for me. Okay. Now let us try to understand the refraction phenomenon through a glass prism. We are going to learn the refraction phenomena through a triangular glass prism. That's the reason why I defined the prism and I mentioned the different types of prisms. Now I think you are getting the things on track. So in this picture, if you are looking into it, you are not getting anything. But if you are analyzing quietly, what you are getting, all the things clear. So let us consider a triangular prism which is having the base A, B, C. Assume we are having the triangular prism which are having the points or vertices, you may call, A, B, C respectively. So here PE is the incident ray which is going to fall on the surface AB. So PQ is the ray which is incident on this surface. So I'm going to call this entire point PE. PE is taken as PE up to this, sorry. So PE is considered as incident ray of light. So if you plot the normal, what happens? Remember, the light is coming from air medium to glass, and later after another process from glass to air yet again. This is how the light ray is moving. Keep in your mind. So what I was saying, that n dash be the normal drawn to the incident ray PE. So what happens? When the light ray enters from air to glass, it bend towards the normal. So it bend towards the normal like this. So this will be the angle of incidence, the angle between this portion N, E, Q or P, you can take, no problem. N, E, P, no problem, that is I. Similarly, F, E, N will be the refracted ray. So this is the angle of refraction, angle of refraction. So I be the angle of incidence, R be the angle of refraction. So this EF ray is taken as refracted ray. So PE is the incident ray, EF will be the refracted ray. As I said that the light ray is entering from air to glass. Now EF is a refracted ray when you considered PE as an incident ray traveling from air to glass. Now this EF is taken as the incident ray here inside this glass chamber or glass prism. So EF is taken as incident ray here, and again you try to draw normal to that. What happens when the light ray is moving from glass to air, that is denser to rarer, it bends away from the normal in the form of RS here. So you can take FS here in this case as the emergent ray. So PE be the incident ray, EF as refracted ray, and EF is considered to be as an incident ray inside that, no problem. So after emerging out from FS, that is called emergent ray of light. So this will be the path of the ray of light from air to glass, glass to air. Okay. Now what you do, try to compare. So just I have written whatever I explained here. So referring to the diagram, as I said, that PE be the incident ray, EF is the refracted ray, FS being the emergent ray of light. The ray of light entering from air to glass to the first surface AB of the prism, and after refraction at that surface it bent towards the normal, and N dash. At the second surface AC of the prism, light enters from glass to air. After refraction, it bends away from the normal, M dash. Now comparing the angle of incidence I and angle of refraction R at each refracting surface. At each refracting surface, comparing I and R, angle of incidence and angle of refraction of the prism, it makes the emergent ray, the outcoming ray after the complete phenomenon, that is called emergent ray. We used the name FS being the emergent ray. Then what it does, the emergent ray actually bend at an angle. It is going to bend at an angle to the direction of incident ray. is known to be as angle of deviation D. So the emergent ray bending at an angle to the direction of incident ray. So that angle is important. That will be the angle of deviation. So where do you find this angle of deviation in the figure? If you just drag on this PQ line, PQ points and PQ to PE, it is overall the incident ray. And if you drag this portion up to G to H, no problem. If you drag this ray up to this, what happens? And one more thing, that is this Fs, the emergent ray, if you drag this back, it is intersecting at point G. Assume it is intersecting somewhere at G. So the angle between this line, I mean the incident path and emergent path, that is taken as angle of deviation D. Okay, so the angle between H, G and F or any line on that, that is taken as angle of deviation. So this angle is formed when you drag the incident ray of light back and emergent ray back. That's why I mentioned here the emergent ray bend at an angle to the direction of incident ray is known as angle of deviation D. It has its own importance. That portion will be studied in second PUC or in the 12th class. I hope you are getting at least where do you find this angle of deviation D, as well as angle of prism is well. So this will be the angle of prism and this will be the angle of deviation. This is important. Okay, I hope you got all these points clear. Now we can write a mathematical expression for the angle of deviation for a small prism. For a small prism, this formula is valid. For larger prism, we need to do some alternating adjustments to that. Anyway, I'm not bothering too much. For a small prism, the angle of deviation is given by D is equal to A into N minus 1. This is the formula used to calculate the deviation produced, which is equal to A into N minus 1. So A being the angle of prism, N being the refractive index of prism. I hope you got this part clear as well. So I'm gonna stop here at this point of time with the atmospheric refraction. I'm going to meet you in the next period. Till then, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.